Welcome to Called Offside, and this is the morning line. Chelsea up first, and it looks like Enzo Maresca is on his way into the hot seat at Chelsea. Fabrizio Romano says that the contract is almost finalised and that Chelsea and Leicester City are working on a compensation package for both the coach and his team. I don't know where to go with this. I really don't. Ipswich Town's Kieran McKenna was interviewed on Sunday, according to Cy Phillips Talks Chelsea, and he didn't not get the job. He didn't want the job. Thanks, but no thanks. I'm sure it's going to be spun that Chelsea, picked the better man. But I'm not sure that the reception to the Chelsea plan at the moment is getting a particularly warm, reaction. Huge risk is one fan's voice. An uninspiring choice is another. Contract length, don't worry about it. I think we'll be talking about this in a year's time. Arsenal and Spurs are among the clubs monitoring the situation of highly rated Shakhtar Donetsk midfielder Grigory Sudakov. Sources close to the understanding of the situation have told Court Offside. The talented 21-year-old is also attracting interest from other big clubs such as Juventus, Napoli, Borussia Dortmund and Benfica, although his €150 million release clause is seen as too expensive. Really? It is understood, however, that Shakhtar would be willing to negotiate for Sudakov, and they might be willing to do business with clubs of 80 million for the Ukrainian international. Absolute pie in the sky, poppycock, junk and gibberish. 21-year-old Shakhtar Donetsk are not the great force that people try to pass them off as. They're pretty mediocre. So any 21-year-old they've got in their books is immediately, 6 out of 10 on a good day. And the idea that, that this class of kid is going to be worth 150 million is nonsense. The idea that he's not even a household name in Ukraine. 80 million? No. Spurs won't touch this in a million years. Arsenal, who knows? If he's a superstar, Arsenal might negotiate on the 80 million, but it still seems absolutely insane. With add-ons, you might get up to 60 million or something. I don't know. I haven't seen him play, but it's just nonsense. It's nose across the board. Sky journalist Dan Bardell has branded Philip Coutinho an expensive mistake, and you've got to say he's right. An exclusive interview with Villa News, Bardell stated he wasn't going to make it at Villa for a Conference League campaign. With Villa's ambitions next season, he's not going to fit in with what Emery wants to achieve. He's proved to be a very expensive mistake. He gave us some fun moments, but overall it's not worked, and Villa can't afford to carry that sort of wage. I absolutely agree. Terminating his contract would really help their PSR, and Manchester City got some bad news for you. The Brazilian joined the Midlands club with huge expectation following his move from Barcelona. I don't think he did, I think the idea there was a mature, experienced player, a nice card to have in your pocket. A, they didn't need him, and B, he didn't really perform when they did bring him into the mix. Good luck, God bless, good night. Absolute waste of time, really. Let somebody else overpay for him. Right, into the fire here. Jack Grealish is allegedly sweating, according to the Daily Mail, on a Euro 2024 place after a nightmare into the season. I think the press are making absolutely something out of nothing here. Massive club with millions of players, all of them very good at playing football, and they just didn't need him. Pep's in charge, he makes the decisions. 100 million star celebrated Manchester City's 4-in-a-row title success on a bus parade yesterday, which, if you look for the video on X, is quite amusing, because he nearly fell off twice, which maybe would have been a highlight of his year, who knows. Now battling with Tottenham's James Maddison to secure a spot in Gareth Southgate's England squad, and that's a squad that includes in the midfield Cole Palmer, Jared Bowen, Anthony Gordon, and of course Bukayo Saka. I mean, if you want to get to the front of the queue in your England squad selection with Gareth Southgate, dye your hairpin would be my suggestion. Staying with Manchester City, there is some really bad news coming down the pipeline. I've got to tell you, City lost the FA Cup final, much to the annoyance of the press, who really wanted to pile on Manchester United. But there's a frankly stellar summary of the financial storm that's coming, and I'll put the link in the description. It's a long read. It's about an hour, minimum of an hour. It's probably longer once you go through all the documents, which includes leaked emails. which are beautifully annotated with these little yellow sort of post-it notes type stickers giving you a summary of who the person is and what they were doing and what they were up to, basically. It's going to be big. This is going to be big, but it will only be big if UEFA and the Premier League and the CAS get their act together and this time really go for the jugular. There's 115 charges, but it's not about the volume of charges. It's about the quality of the charges and the allegations made here. Unless this is like the Hitler Diaries and the whole thing is faked, are pretty severe. And I would guess, just looking at it, and bear in mind I'm not a lawyer and I'm not an accountant, this is probably going to eclipse the business that went on at Rangers up in the SPL a few years ago. People are talking about £100 million fines plus, and at least relegation from the Premier League. So it's pretty serious. And what I like about this coverage of it as well, that this is done in a very level-headed manner. So there's no, "Ooh, they're nasty, I told you. It's grim, and it's just presented in a very sort of academic way that I think is pretty easy to understand. And my conclusion from looking at it, which wasn't difficult, because like I say, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a priest, but I could look at it and tell you that City are effectively a state-owned entity. And what is that doing in the Premier League? That's my take on it. Don't like that at all. Manchester United will, and then we'll get away from Manchester because they're rather hogging this. Jim Ratcliffe, this was in the Sun, rattled by fan power as Manchester United delay a public announcement on Erik ten Hag's future. You've been chasing this poor guy's ambulance, and I've got a graphic for you here which we'll put up. And you don't have to really study this. This is a real at-a-glance thing. No, Manchester United haven't won the league and the Champions League and this, that and the other. But for a club, again, still coming out of the shadow of Sir Alex Ferguson, this guy's win rate is on a par with the other guy that won stuff there with them. His name is Jose Mourinho. And he has been beset with injuries. But you ask fans about injuries and everybody tells you their club's had the worst. Manchester United have been in absolute trouble with injuries. But he doesn't get a break. Nobody's going to give him a break. And as I say, they can't wait to get rid of him, so they're going to start beating up the next guy. Ten Hag has fired a thinly veiled dig at incoming Liverpool manager Arne Slot. As he awaits the outcome. They can't leave it alone. They cannot leave it alone. Feyenoord Ten Hag says, Feyenoord was steady this year, but not top. PSV Eindhoven were 2 classes better in all areas, in terms of dominating the ball, in terms of putting pressure, in terms of intensity, you name it. Liverpool have got it all to do. Slot has got a lot of stuff to look at, and I've got to tell you, he's right in what he's saying here. Ten Hag, Dutch football isn't what they think it is. It used to be much better, but if you can name any big international forces, then good luck. I just don't see it. They've gone right off the boil. Is this guy the answer? Don't know. Wish him well. And the final item is actually quite warm and chummy, opposed to a mocking thing, which it usually is. And it's Real Madrid, and it's Luka Modric. He's denied rumours on becoming part of Ancelotti's staff. He says, I don't know where that comes from, but no to being an assistant, no to a second coach. I'm still a player, and that's what I want to do. I want to play. The decision is my future, and I can't tell you yet, but it's been made. I've always said I want to retire at Real Madrid, and this is what I really want. This would be a dream if this is my home, the club of my life. I want a farewell like Tony Cruz. I've got to say, from my perspective, ex-Spurs player, what a career he's had. He's 57 this week. I kid. But 5 Champions League, 4 Spanish titles, FIFA World Club Cups, 2 Spanish Cups, and 5 Spanish Super Cups, and a partridge in a pear tree. An absolute gem of a player, a real classy guy. And as they say, thank you for your service. That's it for now. See you in the morning.